Good morning. I hope you're having a good one so far. Welcome to Off the Press on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. As usual, together, my guest is already here. We'll take a look at the headlines making the rounds in the newspaper, and you can make your decisions for the day. I'm talking about Obinna Igwebuike. He is a management consultant. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. The Vanguard is the first paper we will be reviewing this morning. And the screamer on the front page is Presidential Election Tribunal orders INEC to let PDP inspect materials. There you have it on the screen. And then it has three riders to it. You might not be seeing it properly, so I'll just read them to you. Materials sought include ballot papers, voters register, others. Declines request to subject ballot papers to forensic audit. Adds request to audit ballot papers outside Electoral Act. There you have it on your screen. Of course, the situation with flood, whenever it rains, there is something. But you have a helping hand, a heartwarming one there. Woman being helped out of the flood at Ogba Ikeja roundabout, Lagos, Nigeria. When it rains, I mean, if you live on the island, you understand what I mean. On the side of that, on the right-hand side of that picture, you'll see Buhari won't allow saboteurs to lead a night assembly. That's presidency speaking. You find details on page 9. Quite an interesting piece of information there. We go to the bottom of the paper now. We have PDP alleges mass arrest of members in Niger Delta states. We also have court disqualifies Taraba APC governorship candidate over age discrepancy. Yes. UK threatens a visa ban on politicians inciting violence on social media. And of course, Benue youths protest deployment of troops for polls. So these are some of the headlines. To the Nation newspaper and see what they're saying. Poll: parties join forces in Oyo, Kwara, Benue, Lagos. That's the paper on your screen. It also has some riders, 30 candidates back Sanwo-Olu. That's 7 Kwara parties for Abdulrazak, Knox from Makinde. Okay, that's some of the thoughts on the front page. And at the top of the paper, we have, I'll do more. Buhari reassures Nigerians. That's it on your screen at very top. You see the picture of the president on there. And then tribunal rejects Atiku's plea for forensic analysis. We just touched on that a second ago. AG candidate boasts, I will win Lagos. It's hitting off, people. All right, let's go to the back page and see what is on there. There's this little one before we do the flip. Is Tinubu urges Lagos APC to work for victory. Okay, on the back page now we have election 2019, a mock trial. Benga Motosho is speaking on editorial notebook. Why is he saying it's a mock trial? You just have to read details. We don't have time to cover all of that for you, so do find time to grab a copy of the Nation newspaper. But for now, let's make some sense of the screamers on the front page. Obinna, over to you.
Well, we're seeing a lot of alignments. You know, those parties that people said were just there for tactical reasons, we're beginning to see that play out. So we're beginning to see a lot of parts. So for example, in Lagos, we see 30 candidates back Sanwo-Olu. I mean, that's, you just ask the question, why were you in the race in the first place? I mean, was it a placeholder to use as a bargaining chip, or did you actually have the intention of serving the people? I think for me, the most important thing is, and look, there's nothing wrong. I mean, even in business, people do alliances and mergers and acquisitions and all of that. But I think the most important thing is at what is the price of this? At what cost does this come? You know, because at the end of the day, you need these people in the opposition to keep the ruling party in check. So if they're all queuing behind a particular candidate, which I fundamentally don't have a problem with. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea in itself, but I think we still need to have a place for the opposition, where, you know, at whatever level, local, state, or federal.
All right, we move on to this day newspaper. Screamer. Turn out en masse on Saturday to vote. Buhari appeals to Nigerians. That's it on your screen. Emefiele, CBN-backed MFB will provide funds at 5% interest to spur competition, check abuses. That's a bit of business. Nati unveils oil blocks owners by January 2020. You find details on page 8, I beg your pardon, on page 8 of the paper. Nati unveils oil block owners by January 2020. And then at the very bottom of the paper, you will see Atiku gets tribunal's order to inspect electoral materials. There you have it. And a bit of a pictorial reportage there. The former governor of Delta State is on the dividend of democracy. You might want to go take a look at what it's all about. And then we have Atiku gets tribunal's order to inspect electoral materials. I've taken that one. Again, UK threatens visa ban on sponsors of electoral violence. And on the back page of this day newspaper, we have the state of the 36 states. There is a quote there that's interesting. In the faces of dwindling resources amid growing challenges, what we need in the states are governors who can think outside the box. English, Adeniyi's mischievous gloating. Interesting updates. Can we just look at this? So what do you make of this screamer?
Makes a lot of sense. Look, we at some point, we need to think about the future of this country. We have a lot of states that are financially insolvent. They can't pay salaries. They can't invest in capital infrastructure. They can't guarantee a prosperous future for their citizens. What's the point? It's okay to do a campaign and run for office and run for elections, but the truth is, at some point, we need to actually deliver the dividends of democracy. A lot of our states need to be restructured, right? So, and this is the whole restructuring agenda. We cannot continue like
do we have those kind of candidates running this time around? People that think outside the box.
There are
or
a few
just
smart
recycling?
ones that that have shown record of achievements in the past. But again, sometimes they need to be there for us to really know how far they can go. But there are pockets here, there, and the other who we think can actually deliver out of the box thinking and out of the box governance.
Quick thoughts on the front page of this day.
I'm very, again, CBN-backed MFBs. So the microfinance banks were created to bridge the gap between, more like the bottom of the pyramid and the commercial banks. So obviously it was clear that commercial banks were not going to support people, at the very end of the socioeconomic ladder, like the real bottom of the pyramid people. But this hasn't exactly worked. Many of the MFBs have not been well run. They haven't been well capitalized. The kind of funding they've given have been very prohibitive. So that system hasn't worked. So the CBN trying to use the NESA, which is the Nigerian Incentive Risk Sharing system for agricultural lending, I think makes a lot of sense. They are running that through the post offices. So we'll have these MFBs in every single local government. I think the aim is to give agricultural lending, or is to do agricultural lending at 5%, which I think is really, really breakthrough if we're able to implement it.
All right, let's run through the Punch newspaper. It has a couple of interesting headlines. IG deploys DIGs 227 CPs for March 9 elections. That's on page 10 of the Punch newspaper. There you have it on your screen. At the very top, I'm reading from the very top. Alao Akala's radio station bars Makinde from live program. What that is, you need to go find out. Oshibanjo leads APC mega rally in Ogun. Allays fear of violence. That's really necessary at this time. Okay, and the big screamer on the front page is Tribunal grants Atiku access to inspect poll materials, rejects forensic exam request. There is a rider to it. Buhari had subverted Supreme Court. Ex-VP may not get justice. Agbakoba is speaking. Okay, Lent is Ash Wednesday is captured on the front page. Different clerics administering the ash on the forehead. That little boy there girl rather. Okay, we move on. Let's see. Obasanjo's criticism of Buhari driven by ego, says BMO. That's on the side of the picture on the front page. EFCC arraigns Lagos profiteers for the frauding company of 25 million naira. And then I work harder. The second term, says Buhari. We've taken that one already. A quick flip to the back now. We'll see Thursdays with Abimbola. Today it's about Oshibanjo and the anti-VGC resentment. A little bit of sports is also captured at the top corner, as you can see on your screen there. Quickly, your thoughts, Obinna.
I think we've taken a lot of these stories.
Yes.
So, again, it's a season of Lent. It's a season where most Christians, you know, fast and pray for a 40-day period. And I think that at the top of that wish list really is the peace and development of Nigeria. So it's really to encourage Christians who are participating in the fast to, pray for yourselves, but also please pray for your country, because we need a lot of prayers right now.
Yes, we certainly... It's time for sports analysis. Yes, indeed. Off the press is what it is, and we're looking at the papers. All right, Complete Sports is with us, and of course I have Samson Oloyede joining us. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
Okay. What is the biggie? Iwobi chases first
Europa League.
Europa League goal to France. That's one. Eagles start sixth start in 7 games. Which other one here? United make UCL history. I'll just leave you to pick what is the biggest sports story today.
Well, it has to do with United making UCL history. That's still, you know, the talking point in the sporting world, not just the footballing world. It was a remarkable turnaround yesterday night, and kudos to the players and the technical crew of United. They did what was deemed as the impossible, and that's going to France, you know, the Parc des Princes, to get a vital win. And they got a 3-1 win, it ended. And see, the players showed character, they showed positivity, they showed belief, and these are the virtues that are synonymous to Manchester United over the years, especially during the Fergie era. So it's almost like Solskjaer is bringing all of that back to the club. And it's massive. It's difficult to see beyond, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting a permanent job at the summer, because in 17 games there's won 14, is drawn 2 and lost just 1, you know, and is been able to get the team playing once again the United way. So there's a whole lot of things to be proud of, not just about, you know, the win last night. And when you consider the fact that they played the match against the almighty PSG without 10 first-team players, it gives you a whole lot to, you know, credit them for. So I think it's extremely remarkable.
Okay, what about this thing about Iwobi?
Well, that's Arsenal's, you know, Europa League clash tomorrow against Rennes. You know, that's one that you expect Arsenal to win. It's going to be difficult, but you expect them to progress over 2 legs. And Iwobi has not scored in, you know, in the Europa League competition. So the headline says chases his first Europa League goal. They hope that he gets a goal in there. I think Europa League tomorrow would be exciting as well. You know, it's today, I beg your pardon, it's just as much as we saw, you know, in the UEFA Champions League. Hopefully the VAR doesn't play a part again, because last night we had 2 VAR penalties at the very last minute of the ties, and some would want to, you know, call them controversial calls. But again, we need to understand that the VAR is just a technology that is meant to help the referees make better decisions. You know, those minute calls that they may not observe during the game. The decision, the final decision, still rests with the referee, and he has to use his discretion. And that's why, you know, the PSG penalty call, some deemed it harsh, that the referee should have used his discretion. Kimpembe was backing the ball, the hand wasn't entirely outstretched and all of that. But it still lies with the referee to make the call, and he decided to make the call this time around.
Okay, quick thought on one of these headlines for
Mold ready to, you know, scoop out Solskjaer's United move. That's one that is a bit of a controversy, because when United got Solskjaer in December, what the report was that he was, you know, taken on loan. And what it meant was it was just going to be on an interim basis. By the summer, it was going to return to Mold to continue his coaching job there. But at some point, reports emerged that his contract had expired with Mold, although by the time United came calling for him, he had agreed a contract extension for 3 more years, which had not been put into paper. So I think it's now a case of the gentleman agreement we had, which was a verbal agreement for a 3 years contract extension and Mold. You have to, you know, honor it, and that's something that both clubs will need to trash out.
Okay, quick look at Vanguard Sports before we go. Mikel targets EPL return with Borough.
Yeah, Middlesbrough.
And then some of the Fenerbahce turns to Moses for goals.
There's also the report of Madrid, you know, trying to get reappoint Zidane again. Yeah. Just last night we got reports that has been quashed. Zidane said he's not ready to come back, you know, into the coaching job at Real Madrid. Mourinho has also been linked to the job. It's difficult for Real Madrid at this point in time. They need to get a new manager, one who will be able to get the job going. More importantly, they also need to get the players, because a whole lot of the players they have now are young. The Asensios, the Vinicius Junior, you know, the Vasquez. These are young guys who cannot, you know, fit into the model of the Ronaldos or the Bills, you know. So it's probably a total overhaul at Real Madrid in terms of playing personnel as well as coaching crew.
Thank you very much, Samson.
A pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you join us and Off the Press. And thank you for watching. We're back again tomorrow. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. Be good to yourself today.